Shine, I'ma shine. I'm not one for wasting time. I'ma make that shit that gon' go have you wait and stand in line. Shine, you gon' shine. Don't you go and waste your time. I know you feeling down, but I know what you got deep inside. Shine, I'ma shine. Shine, I'ma shine. Shine, you gon' shine. Shine, I'ma shine. I'm not one for wasting time.
What up, what up? This is Painter Gain. Welcome back. My name's Dr. T.
TMOH here.
Thanks for joining us. We're coming in hard this October. Spooky season for all of you guys that are into that.
I love Halloween, actually.
Really?
I do love Halloween.
I don't know if I would have pegged you for that. I don't know if I would have guessed that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Heck yeah. Dressing up. Because even like going to festivals, you kind of dress up in themes.
That's
sometimes.
fair.
So, but Halloween, that's my shit. Love Halloween. Love dressing up, being into character when I get all dressed up and everything.
Okay.
What about you?
I do not. I'm not a big Halloween guy.
But with you and your significant other, are you guys going to go to like those Halloween costume parties?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
but
you're
still going to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it begrudgingly,
but
I'll do it.
Got it.
So we actually have a really close friend of mine's birthday that her other friend is throwing but I don't know this friend, but we're invited obviously. And it's like a witches theme.
Okay.
And I was like, look,
go as a witch.
Nah. So one of the things was she was like, oh no, we can have this good idea. Like you just have to wear all black, blah, blah. You could be one of the from the play Wicked.
Okay.
She was like, yeah, we could be these two witches from it. And I was like, what's the catch? Like, there's no way I can just dress up in all black and like that's gonna be the thing.
There's gonna be something to it. Yeah.
And so she was like, well, you have to like paint your face green. And I was like, no.
No, not even.
No, man, because it would be I was like, all right, just like my eyes. She's like, no, your whole face. And I was like, I am not getting face paint in this beard, and I'm not shaving for it. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Don't shave.
So like, and I'm not gonna dye my beard green or something. Like that's just weird. It's too much for me.
Yeah, that's too much.
So we compromised, and so we're getting Harry Potter robes for like $20 or whatever. So I'll go as a Slytherin, and she'll go as Gryffindor or whatever, because she's obviously a better person than I am. But true story. I am a Slytherin, so I will stand by that proudly.
Slytherin.
A lot more pessimistic than anything. Have you taken? You've never taken like?
No.
Oh
I
man,
didn't know there's
I'm
a thing.
much more of a nerd than you. I remember.
No.
But
I'm down to take it though. I love Harry Potter.
It's called Pottermore, or it's like WizardingWorld.com or something now. But it used to be called Pottermore.com, and you take this array of questions. Then they tell you which house you belong to, whether it's Slytherin, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw.
Got it.
Slytherin's usually like the more clever, like known as more the villains are usually Slytherin type. Gryffindor is like very brave. That's Harry Potter.
Got it.
Ravenclaw is like the really smart, like witty, but like kind of, I don't know, dull's not the right word, but like more of a witty, intelligent type.
Okay.
And Hufflepuff is just more of the happy-go-lucky.
I'd probably end up in
like
that
things. One. Yeah. So, anyways, that's your Harry Potter knowledge.
So
we're gonna go as that for the Halloween
that's
for the
cool.
witches thing, just because I can't. Not gonna do it.
Yeah. So since my sister is, she's a school nurse now, so she's not able to go with my niece to the like Halloween, like they do the.
Oh, the walk around and stuff.
Walk around and stuff like that.
Oh, why not? Let the nurse go.
She has to work.
Ugh.
Yep. So
Bummer. I'm
filling in. I'm actually going to be the chaperone for most of her field trips. I didn't get to go to the tech museum. I was kind of sad about that, but so I'm gonna do that. So, but she wanted to be a voodoo witch doctor. So I guess I go as the male version of the voodoo witch doctor guy.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like,
what does that have to? How do we do that?
That's what she want to do. She's going to be a witch doctor.
And does she have an idea for what you're going to need to be?
No, yeah. There's actually like 2 costumes for it. So there's like the witch doctor, and I'm not like the voodoo doll, but there's a
voodoo portion of
voodoo guy. You know what I'm saying?
I respect that.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun.
I feel like if I had like a baby niece, I'm gonna be absolute putty. if I have like a niece.
See, then you start dressing up.
I'm 100%. Yes.
Yeah, cause that makes
no
sense.
doubt. I can
paint.
still say now, but like no.
Yeah.
If I have like a little niece or a daughter, like I'm gonna be absolute mush,
Got it,
and
that's
it's gonna
cool.
be the worst.
Makes sense. No, I mean that's how it turned out for me too. Definitely, Danielle's made
Yeah.
me super just.
Whatever you want.
Got it.
No matter.
You win.
I'm gonna be the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I've even like dressed
Gosh.
up as like Santa Claus and stuff like that too. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's
like
cool.
it's man. No, I can
works
see it in the
out.
future. Yeah, I would have done the same
Got
thing.
it.
100%.
Yeah, no, it changes you for sure, easily, 100%.
But yeah, man. All right, that's good. How's the clients been?
Oh, great. I was actually just telling the production team, we got a new sales rep.
Okay.
So I instantly offer the new like sales rep guy. I got 2 new clients, so that's good.
Oh, there we go.
It's good for me because I actually just got my own spot now, right down the street. So got to pay rent. So
Hey, yeah, congrats.
So
on
right
that.
off
I
the
saw
top-
you moved in.
Yeah.
How was that? What was that
tomorrow will
process
be
like?
tomorrow will be the official day. I just got to move in a bed. Luckily, my roommate has an extra TV for me that I could just post up. He's not even using it, he said, so I'm gonna throw that up. I kind of want to get some like hue lights, maybe just change up, get some coloring in there, and then I don't know if I should go posters. Should I do something else on the wall? Should I get some
Okay.
art stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's my first time like kind of figuring out how's the whole what is it feng shui.
Interior decorating.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
that was. I moved in. I was like, I didn't know we had all of these things to think about.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
we just moved in and like, yep, that's where we sit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's where we sleep.
Yeah, that's what it's cool too.
Everything
'cause-
else in between that works out very nicely.
Yeah, they
That's all
already
we
been
need.
living there, so they already got like a living room set up, all cool and stuff like that. So everything's fine. Kitchen's already all set up, so I just got to worry about my room and be cool. But yeah, so yeah, the new clients are great. Yeah, man, I just seen a lot of improvement from my clients. Just physically, emotionally. I've had a complete roster of people show up. There's been no shows. People are coming in ready. They're not coming in late.
That's
so, yeah.
nice, man.
Exactly. They're right on time. I could just get in the workouts, get them out. Bingo, bango, bongo. But yeah, so working more hours though, so it's good.
That's nice, man. I've had people come in. I feel like I've had like the worst. Everybody's been 10 to 15 minutes late, and it's nice if you know for sure everyone's gonna be at. But it's like, man, I gotta try to get this in. I gotta get this like out of the way, and then the next person shows up 10, 15 minutes late, so I'm just like stressed for the whole time. Ugh.
Yeah,
Everyone being on
especially, too.
time, it matters so much. Go to your appointments on time,
Yeah,
please.
for real. Because even too is like, all right, well now we have to like zoom through a 15-minute workout now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
it's tough.
But yeah, so for the most part, no, it's been good. How about you? How's our man Wheels?
Wheels has been tough this week. Wheels has been so he's in high school, first year in high school, and he's like a teenager, and so it's a little like sometimes they don't always want. I think I taught you guys before. Sometimes he doesn't want to do everything.
Yep.
But because of his his syndrome and his like situation, we had a code brown and a code yellow
Again.
within the last week.
And a code yellow.
Yeah. So, code brown was, I thought he was just crop dusting me, and I was kind of like, hey, respect. Like, you gotta like,
Come on, man.
dedicate your, hey man, you gotta get in, man, you're claiming your territory, man.
Yeah, no, I
like
feel
you're
it.
walking, you gotta go. Like, I ain't stopping for this. Like, I'm going and letting loose.
Yeah.
And I was like respecting it at first, and I was like, no, this is the longest crop dust I've ever dealt with. This is
You're
wild.
like, you know what? I think he shit himself.
Yeah, so he did, and his like dad that's there's
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh, you know, I
again,
think an
hey.
accident. And I was like, you know what, we got 10 more minutes, man. Just
Hang
I
in
know
there.
it's uncomfortable for him. As long as he's still down, like
Let's
F
get
it.
through
The least I can do is like kind of smell it, because he wears a diaper and jeans, so it's not like
Of
the
course.
worst,
Yeah.
but it just smells like someone's farting the whole time.
No, of course. Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah.
it's manageable, but it's kind of like, man, I'm taking a shower as soon as I get home type of deal.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I got home and the missus walked in and was like, hey, I was like, I got to go to the shower. We had to go
Got it.
brown. She doesn't know what that means. I was like, I'll explain after I get into the shower and get out of here.
Yeah.
But we also had a code yellow this week. Actually, yesterday, yeah. Yesterday we had a code yellow where
So
he
it's already
just,
Monday, Tuesday, because it's already Tuesday.
I see him around 3 times a week if he can.
Oh, got it.
So I see him Monday, Wednesday, Friday usually.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, gotcha.
Yeah, those congenital disease, you just try to get him walking as much as possible. He's actually got a new, what's called a reverse walker, which is, if you've seen the 4-wheeled walkers, a lot of like older people haven't use it for motion more. They have the handbrakes and stuff. This is basically a 4-wheeled walker, but the cage is behind him, not in front of him. And so it forces him to stand up a little bit taller when he's walking. Yeah, so it's behind him.
Because I've seen those. Yeah.
And so some of the reasons they have it is so that it can, as it's going, if your foot's dragging really far behind. I was actually talking to his dad about this. We can actually roll right into this of like, I sent you guys a TED talk of like neuroplasticity and what that is.
Yeah.
Neuroplasticity is like your brain relearning pathways and kind of getting the road work essentially for you to do things. So if I got to get from point A to point B, like point A is thinking of doing something, point B is like doing it. You need to build a road to get to there. So that's your nerve, signals. And in order for your brain to complete a full action, it needs to formulate said action. And that happens in your frontal cortex and so the front part of your brain. And that basically helps map out the action of, I'm going to go step, so that you don't have to think of, I need to bring my leg up, I need to bend my knee, I need to bring it forward, I need to straighten out my knee, I need to put my heel down first, and I need to put my toes down, and I need to grab the ground with my hamstring, I need to pull. So you don't have to go through all of that. It's just these patterns that you get. And so neuroplasticity is taking that and performing that pathway, or paving the road to where that's just a thought and an action.
Got it.
Okay, so his neuroplasticity is bad for what's called proprioception. Proprioception is like balance and your awareness in space. So where a certain point of view is in space.
I was like, that was a key word in one of my textbooks.
Yeah, proprioception. So proprioception is, you can actually have someone close their eyes. One of the main tests that they do, that I will do if I suspect a proprioception deficit, is I'll have them close their eyes. I'll put their thumbs in a certain way, and I'll move their thumb. I'll say, all right, I'm going to move your thumb, and I'm just going to move it all over, and I'm going to put it in a certain position. I'm going to say, okay, which direction is it facing? So is it facing up? Is it facing in? Is it facing back? Is it facing straight? Is it facing down? Did I put it somewhere else? And you want to do that where it's not touching something else to give other input. So if you close your eyes and I move your thumb out here, and you just hold it there, and I wait a second and say, okay. So I just move it around, and then hold it here and say, okay, and let go. You can't tell what that is. You can't tell that it's pointing to the left. If you do it, you know, like, oh yeah, my thumb's pointing this way because I sense that. So he doesn't have that. So the difficulty with that is when you're walking and your feet are behind you, you don't know. So if you have to stop and look at something and look at something else, the last thing I remember was, okay, I move my left foot. I should be moving my right foot. Now, if you have to, how many times do you like have to step and then look again and you step with that same foot again?
I guess
because sometimes it's in a bad position. If I stop and have to turn to the left, and I've already taken my last step with my right one, or my left foot, like I'm always alternating, because my neuroplasticity has taught me I need to switch feet every time I step. And I didn't learn that of, okay, well, if I'm in this certain situation, I need to move this foot this way as opposed to keeping it here. So if I've already moved this left foot, but they're really close together and I want to turn left, instead of just stepping out with your left foot, you're going to sit there and try to cross your right foot over while your left foot's still facing forward. And that's going to put you in this weird situation. So the one thing that the walker does is it gives you a stimulus to understand where your feet are.
Because you're like, oh, okay, this is behind me, so I keep on going forward.
And so if I have a foot backwards and the reverse walker that has a little cage at the bottom hits the back of your right leg, it'll remind you, oh yeah, that needs to come forward. You keep going forward. Okay, if I lean too far, it's going to get in, it's going to hit the other one. Oh, I need to bring this forward. And so it's a constant reminder, basically, which is like a cool way that, you don't think about these deficits. That's one of the hardest things of working with a patient population like that, or working with even like special ed populations is similar thing, as there's so many things that you're just like, you should just know this. How do you not know that? Like, that's an obvious thing, that it makes it real kind of intuitive to work with them, as long as you're aware of what's going on. It makes it easy to be able to talk with them and their deficiencies without getting frustrated.
No,
because that's one of the hardest things, is getting frustrated with that population of, these guys aren't they're not doing what I want. I've told them the same thing
Yeah.
50,000 times, and they're not doing what I asked them to do.
Yeah.
And it's just really frustrating to get through that of like, I've just been walking with them the whole time, and like we still have trouble turning left.
Yeah.
And so it's getting through that, and it gives you like a little, okay, like I understand why. So anyways,
I like how even just the idea of just like somebody created that walker idea. So it's like it's just a reminder, just to kind of like get them to go and remember that this is this is the back foot. So kind of go on that one.
Yeah, it's made more for like Parkinson's who have like a forward lean. And so it keeps them to stand upright, because if they lean forward too much, it's going to tilt. And so they have this opening. You're like, well, no, I need to stand up and I need to stand back so that I can walk straight. But it's just another way to use it. And it helps out that certain population. So one thing's designed for something, but it really helps out another one too.
Yeah.
So it works out multiple ways. So that's been those make for long. He's always my last patient, and it makes for a very long end of the day of like, oh man, like it's very rewarding, but I'm gassed at the end of the day.
End, yeah, that's
like I'm trying to go home in like 40 minutes. Like, jeez.
For sure. That's cool though. Yeah. So, but he's still getting better, right?
Yeah, he's getting better. He's walking more. So because of that, it's kind of a new toy for him. So he wants to use it. So he's walking a lot.
Okay.
So
right.
he's
like,
been getting like
cool.
every week.
And he probably likes the idea. It's like, oh, that really does help me move forward.
It's like a new toy. It's a new toy for a kid.
Crazy.
And so it's really cool for him. But yeah, he's been doing good. I see we got 50 coming in hot for the Tua injuries. So Tua injury, we're going to get a little bit more in depth on, what happened with him. Why did he have the weird posturing? The fingers? Why did the fingers get in the way that they did? Why did why did he react the way they reacted? And how did he potentially get into that position? But without actually knowing anything, this is all speculation. It smells a lot to me like these quote unquote third party neuro consultants aren't fully third party, and they're going to basically wash them out.
Yeah.
And have the NFL say, well, so to bring this back, you'd have these head and trauma concussion institute, basically, or whatever it's called. There's like a specific institute that takes care of this, and they are hired by the NFL to put together their protocol.
Yeah. And
so they give the third party neuro consultants, and they give them to each team or at each game, and they go see it. And so they design this protocol of like, they ask these questions, they do these certain tests, they do this. But the problem with concussion testing is, at this point, the good and the bad thing, it's so well known about that anybody knows if they've been hit in the head, and me, a neuroconsultant, goes up to them and say, hey, do your eyes hurt when you look at this light? Now you have the subjective option, whether it hurts or not, to say, no, that feels fine.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, that's
so there's a lot against the Dolphins of like, obviously he had like very, very obvious. He had a concussion the first time. Yeah. It wasn't even close. Very, very apparent.
His back, but he had back spasms.
Anyone who's had back spasms or locked up like that, it doesn't just, you don't fall like that. That's not how you collapse if you have a back issue. So the problem is, they can take whatever subjective answer you give, take it for what it is. Yeah. Now, if he looks up the light, he's like wincing, he like closing his eyes, he could still say, hey, this doesn't hurt. What are you going to do?
No, he put himself in that danger.
That's what you're saying. You can't say no.
About it last week, right? About
Tua said it was his back. He told everybody it was his back. That's his problem.
Yeah.
So part of it's on Tua. Part of it's on the doctors being like, no, shut up, dude. You obviously don't have, like, you're obviously like fucking with us, basically.
Yeah, for real.
You obviously had a concussion. I'm not even going to ask you these questions, and it's going to be a no doubt you're going to be out of this. But if Tua doesn't cooperate and tell them his progression, how are they going to trust him?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially when the kid wants to play.
And with millions and millions of dollars on the line, every single game, every single loss, every single win, it's real tough to put this strictly on
just the
Dolphins team.
I mean, they fired their main guy for sure.
NFL did.
Like, they had to. Like,
Yeah,
you had to get. Like, we have to do something because this is not right.
Yeah, I think it's a scapegoat, but you know what? We don't know anything.
Exactly. Yeah,
we know nothing about it, but I do know that it's subjective. As to because I've gone through dozens of concussion tests at this point in my life, of asking kids these questions and doing things that they all know what I'm asking for. They know if they have a concussion, they're out. They have to go to the doctor. There's probably 2 weeks where they're not going to play.
Yeah.
So if I look at a kid and he says, "No, this doesn't hurt," I'm going to keep shining a light in their eye and be like, "Really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Does this hurt?"
Yeah.
And if he starts pulling away, I'm going to be like, "No, that hurts, doesn't it? I can see that." And
Yeah,
so that's where me as
Every
a high
player.
school, it's like a high school sideline
Every
guy,
player.
where I don't have the fear of like, if the coaches want to come yell at me, I don't give a crap. What are you going to do to me? You can't do nothing to me.
Yeah.
If I'm a neuroconsultant that continuously is like, "No, you can't go back. You have a concussion. You can't go back in the game. You need to pass all these other things."
Yeah, because like you said, you gotta save
Millions
the
of dollars.
person. Yeah, you gotta save the person from themselves at that point.
Yeah.
Like 50 said, like, won't players always want to go in? Yep.
Yeah, so
They were gonna play.
players are always going to want to play. And you can talk to, there's plenty of players at this point. They're like, "Yeah, we just memorized the questions they were going to ask us. They just asked the same questions, so we passed protocol because we knew protocol. We knew what they were going to ask us. We knew what the answers that we should give." And the thing with concussions, it's a lot of short-term memory loss, but you keep your long-term because that's already converted. So in your hippocampus, it's a certain part of your brain that can be a whole nother discussion. But there's a part of your brain that transfers short to long-term memory. So once it's transferred long-term, it's harder to kind of mess with that.
Got it.
That's why people with Alzheimer's and stuff, like people with these immediate, or not even immediate, but it's called encephalopathy, when you're like literally losing pieces of your brain. You can still remember, like, "Oh, I remember back in the day,
It's
like
just
me and
that
Sally
short-term.
Lou Who in the drive-ins running away from the coppers, like 5 cents a gallon for gas or
Yeah,
whatever."
yeah.
Like, why you can remember those long-term
Yeah, I
things
see what
because
you're
it's
saying.
already converted. So
Yeah, got
as
it.
long as you know ahead of time what they're going to ask you, you can pass them.
Oh, because it's already stored in the bank.
Yeah, so that's the problem with it is, so even though they did fire the independent doctor, like 50 said, they fired the independent guy, which they cited that he made several quote unquote mistakes. How many people is that? How often have you heard of a guy who got injured in the game, went back in, and they didn't show concussion signs until 3 days later, 5 days later, that they kept him out of the next week? Because concussions are very famously known for coming up later. So you can have a concussion, not know you have a concussion, then 3 days later, 5 days later, have the migraines, have the light sensitivity, have all of those things that happen to you that are obvious signs of concussion, like migraines, don't like being in a dark room. But when's the last time you've heard of a player in an NFL team go down and be like, "You know what, he developed concussion symptoms later in the week, we have to sit him"? Never.
Yeah, no.
So
They just say it right there in that moment.
Exactly. So it's kind of there's a lot of money involved in this. And one player, especially a quarterback, could cost a team millions of dollars in revenue, in losses, in like playoff potential. Like there's so much that goes into this that it's very, very hard to peg. Yeah. But it's also, as a quarterback, like it's a little different for Tua's case, but like any quarterback you could have argued Tua was on the brink of like not being a starter after this year. If he plays bad this year or has to miss a while or plays poorly, who says that he's the starter next year? Who says he gets another contract after his rookie contract where he actually gets a chance to do things?
Plays, yeah.
So to him, he's like, well, if I don't play, like who says I come back? If I like Teddy Bridgewater as like a player, who says I can come back? So he's going to fight to get in the game too.
Yeah.
And when you rely on symptom-based answers, you're always going to have to ask the patient.
Yeah.
And so those are always touchy. It's a very, very touchy game of, you can't really fully blame one or the other, but like there is blame to go. Are the Dolphins and this third party consultant pressuring him to go in? Probably. But can Tua just say like, "Yeah, I don't have any of those symptoms. My back actually just hurts. I'm fine.
I'm good."
What are we gonna do? No one's gonna be able to say you're wrong, and that's the problem with the medical field. It's really hard to have trust in people when there's a lot of money involved. Even I have patients that are coming off a workman's comp, and they say, let's say Sally Lou, who works as a nurse or whatever.
Yeah.
She's getting tired. They're running her long hours. She doesn't want to work there. They're not paying her enough overtime. They're not doing that stuff. And she just says, "You know what? My wrist hurt." I'm going to go get looked at from a doctor. On her way to the doctor's, or the day before, she Googles, what are the signs and symptoms of carpal tunnel? Googles carpal tunnel, tells the doc, say, yeah, I have tingling in just these fingers, and when I shake it, it gets better. What is the doc going to do other than, like, that sounds like carpal tunnel to me?
Yeah.
So they send him, here's a script for PT. Go see PT for twice a week for 6 weeks for 12 visits. And, you know, you have to either be on light duty, or if they can't do that, they have to pay you for workman's comp to be off of work to go do this until your hands get better. Then they come see me for however long, and they walk in, and I'm like,
you don't fucking have it.
you're full of shit. But
crazy.
Can I say that?
Nope,
Not really.
No, can't.
So what I can do is there's ways around it, but it's very tough to actually get something done about it.
Yeah, it's once it's in, it's in.
And so it's the same thing with these concussions on like a grander scale.
They were saying for most combat sports, like you need 30 to 60 days of non-contact for boxers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's contact sports are crazy. Boxing is the wildest thing I've never actually like watched or cared about boxing. My mom actually wouldn't let us watch it.
Just because how brutal and just barbaric it was back and forth.
Yeah, she couldn't tolerate like people getting knocked out. So we couldn't even have we didn't have we were kind of weirdly we were kind of sheltered, but not really. Where my mom didn't allow us to have any fake guns in the house. We couldn't even make guns. We would get yelled at. We're not yelled at, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have that. We had to play any shooting, Call of Duty games. We had played at really low volume because you didn't like the shooting. So we had this weird kind of protection over us.
Yeah,
but we weren't allowed to watch any boxing or fighting sports because my mom was couldn't watch another human just get knocked out.
Got it.
And so we never had it on.
Sucks. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're watching, you're like, yo, this fool's face is just getting worse.
But once you think about it,
UFC's wild.
Your whole goal of boxing is to cause brain damage. You want to knock someone out, right?
Pretty much.
That's brain. You're causing brain damage. Your literal brain damage is how you win.
Barbaric.
Unbelievable. But yeah, 50. Some players are. There was a thing on David Carr came out and was actually the old concussion test was they put your head against the wall, tap your head, you hit the wall, you come up, they ask you if you're seeing stars. If you say no, I'm not seeing stars.
Were you able to watch?
All right, cool. There you go.
Hockey. Got that from the chat.
Yeah, I was able to watch hockey.
Okay.
I was able to watch.
Even though they kind of threw bows, they kind of still had. It wasn't as bad. Definitely not as bad.
Yeah, it was just it was kind of different if it was it felt like it was more of a sport to have another where the goal wasn't to knock someone out.
Okay.
But if you got knocked out, it was just a little violent.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do that. But yeah, we couldn't watch MMA, we couldn't watch UFC, we couldn't watch boxing, we couldn't watch things like that. Or I guess we could have, but our mom it was really frowned upon.
Yeah. It's I'd rather not piss off mom.
Yeah, y'all know my mom. You don't piss off my mom. You don't piss off your mom. That was the one thing of all right, we just won't watch that. It's fine. So we kind of stopped doing that. But anyways, it's that Tua situation is brutal, and we can go over it later if we got enough people that kind of want to go over it now. We can, but we'll go over it later. What it meant. It's a scary sight. I don't know if anyone has truly seen someone go into that kind of positioning before, or just what happened to him happen so blatantly. It's usually there, and you can be like, that happened. I see that. I can tell that's concussion because this happened in the moment of something when people are flexing.
Hey,
Slick Fargo.
Slick Fargo.
Slick Fargo. We are 0-2 since changing the name, but we'll get there.
Yeah, he lost the first Painter Gain battle of the year. I took that one. So, but don't worry, Slick.
Yeah, I did have Super Soakers though. True story. We used to get a Super Soaker every year for Easter. I don't know why that was a thing in my household, but it was. We had 3 brothers, and we used to go in and rock it.
That's cool.
But yeah. Rodney Harrison spoke out recently. Aikman, Steve Young didn't. Aikman. One of them had a really brutal concussion at the end of his career. I want to say was it Aikman?
I'm pretty sure Aikman has always had concussions.
I want to say
would get put back in the game.
I want to say Steve Young. I want to say Steve Young had a career-ending concussion where he couldn't. You're right. Yeah, I want to say that was a thing where he just couldn't go back in. And you know what? Who says that wasn't the second in a week, third in a week?
Yeah.
Back in the day, even in the 2000s, I actually just listened to a podcast with Ryan Ursillo and Danny Amendola went on. Oof. And he was talking about how little we knew. He was like, yeah, all the research, even 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There's things of Jerry Jones being there's no proof that it actually does long-term damage, concussions. So like honestly, that's what we all thought. And there was in the TED Talk that I showed, there was actually a guy who talked about he talked about basically in the 70s when he was going like finishing PT school and stuff, they were like, yeah, it's just like getting your bell rung, like they have to just wait for things to calm down and then you can go back doing whatever you're doing. And that's like medical profession. That's what it was teaching you in the 70s, 80s. So if the medical profession was teaching you about that in the 70s and 80s, who knows any better? And so that's what the NFL was back in those days. And so it came to 80s, 90s, even when like medical started understanding what a concussion was, that it didn't catch up like from studies to the actual medical field. It's going to take 5 to 10 years. And then from then to get to the real world outside of that, it's going to take another 10 to 20 after that. So we're talking 30 years after like genuinely hit everything. So like in the 90s is when we started figuring that out. That's right about now. We had the concussion movie with Will Smith, which is like
watered down,
kind of farcical. Some of it's not, like some of that they embellished it to make it a movie,
shine a light on
but it's like, yeah, they ended up just scaring people a lot more to where they just didn't want to know about it. So the problem with that is you get all these misdiagnosed concussions. And so there was probably in 2011, 2012, I graduated high school and I was going around through things and I started learning more about, concussions and injuries and stuff when I was, getting into my profession, everything. Yeah. And I remember going there and like a kid would like just leave practice and because he had a headache. And I'm like, have you drank water all day? He was like, no. And I was like, all right, well, you're fucking dehydrated. Shut up, kid. And so I'd be like, you got to drink water. And so he'd drink water and you go home and you tell his mom that his head hurts. He would go to like a big medical company. I don't know. Maybe their name starts with a K and rhymes with miser. They'd go over there and they would be like, all right, you have a concussion 2 weeks out. And that's a misdiagnosed concussion. So it's tough.
Dang. Yeah, because, it's symptoms. There's only so many things.
You got a headache, bam, you got a concussion.
Slick, we're definitely on Tuesdays, Monday Night Football. So maybe if an injury happens, Dr. T can follow up on it. But
Slick Fargo has a question about the Sterling Shepard injury. We did talk about it last week about how, because last week we had to air on Monday and we caught it like, I think right after the game. And I don't think they came out with a thing. And I was telling you guys guaranteed from the way that his shin shifted, it was a guaranteed ACL injury.
Grass?
I don't know, man. There's been a bunch of injuries on that grass, and I just know
is that New York's?
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah,
like it's pretty notorious for like getting ACLs and stuff.
Isn't that where Barkley got hurt?
Yep. So,
I mean, if it's your own team that's getting hurt, like, wouldn't you want to change it at one certain point?
The Sterling Shepard one though is kind of a freak accident. He was like slowing down. He was like not in full speed. He was like not even half speed. Slowing down. I would say the Sterling Shepard one is just a fucking freak accident that sucks balls. Like there's not too much to do about that. But like the David Sills, the 5th one, I think he cut on the grass too and had like, it's really hard. So the problem with it being really hard is you just expect give and it's not there. And so the one thing about like expecting something and then not having it is like, have you ever stepped off of a curb that you didn't expect to be there? You know what I'm saying?
Like another little dip kind of thing? Or
you step up onto a curb or you step under a curb that you didn't fully expect. It's just like
I actually did that at work and I almost hurt myself. It's like I took a step and where I thought there was going to be like grip, it was just literally it slipped. I just literally completely slipped. The whole mat and everything just went and I felt like I almost pulled something and but I caught myself.
It's that
shout out balance training.
It's that like unsure reaction. Like you expect something to happen and it doesn't. That's when your body has what's called anticipatory reaction or anticipatory like proprioception. There's that word again. It's anticipating something to happen, so you expect your body to respond a certain way. And when it doesn't, that's when it becomes dangerous because of the quick reflexive reactions to come in.
That's exactly what it felt like, dude. I was like, I probably should have just faked like I got hurt. Go visit you and get some workman's comp.
Hey man, get some workman's comp out of it. I got plenty of them. But so to bring it all back, like some of it's got to be that, but that was a freak accident.
Yeah.
Some of it's some of it is it is the turf, because if it's harder and you expect a little bit more of give, any little shift, especially athletes that are as high level as this, any little unexpected shift is going to cause potential mayhem. So is it some of the grass? Yeah, but that specific Sterling Shepherd one was kind of like really, really fluky. Slowing down, like, that was just weird. It was.
Yeah. But is there a big difference on turf and grass? Different kind of injuries that might happen? I know there's turf toe.
Yeah.
We talked to Dad about that a little bit.
So turf toe is, someone just actually went out with turf toe. I want to say one of the receivers, Garrett Wilson, maybe? I don't remember. One of the receivers is actually out with turf toe. And what turf toe is you have a tendon that connects your big toe all the way down, and that's what you use to kind of grip the grass. Mm-hmm. We can get to the Javonte one right after this, actually. So we'll be ready for the Javonte Williams one. Sorry for those of you who had him on your fantasy team. Sucks.
That's me, man.
But what turf toe is you actually have a tendon connected to your big toe that comes down. And the thing with turf toe is, it's called turf toe because it only happens on turf, because grass will give away. So what happens is you dig your cleat into turf and you pull, and it's down into like the rubber, into the sand, into the silt, and it catches on the, more force is applied and it's less is given away. Like when you step and you run, if you run and you push off of something soft, it gives away a little bit less. And if you push off something hard, it's like if you break a glass against your head. Like if you break a glass against it, if it doesn't break, it hurts so bad. And if it does break, it gives away some a little bit. So when the grass breaks a little bit with your big toe, it doesn't cause as much stress onto that, called your hallux flexor tendon, which is your big toe that causes your big toe to go down. And so that pulling has just, if it gets caught in there and it gets stuck, it just pulls too hard.
Yeah.
And so it usually is strained due to that, where your cleats, your actual body isn't meant to dig in without having any give.
Yeah. You're
expected to overly dig in because you should expect the grass or the sand or the gravel to give way to you as you're running. Yeah. So it's just a strain on that big tendon, and it's really annoying to deal with because you use your big toe all the time.
So there actually is a correlation to kind of the question we got about grass versus turf when it comes to concussions. So same thing. Would it be because you're the head, or does it really matter how much? A
little bit different, but it does matter the give. Bounce matters.
Boom.
Bounce matters. How much it bounces, how much it gives away. It should be a little bit more forgiving, but if it's faster and it goes down, it hurts more. So the thing with, we can talk about the Tua injury in a bit too, about why it happened. Helmets are designed to take front impact, heavy front impact. That's where they want it. They want it straight to the head or straight to the side, kind of in the temples. They aren't really designed to protect you in the back of the neck. So hitting the back of your head on the turf, that's why a lot of those concussions happen that way, is because if you see the whiplash concussions. Just boom. Yeah, so you go that's for a catch, come down, and boom, back of your head hits the whiplash. It's just not designed to protect you for that. So that's the issue with that. But hopefully Saquon never gets injured. That man is a gem, and I hope he gets to play football. That was the other one. We were talking about who we really enjoyed watching other than Javonte Williams.
Really
it's got to be Saquon.
Nice
big fan watching him.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't. I mean, 2 years already.
Yeah.
Right? 2 years he's already been.
Yeah. You want the year after.
Yeah.
But, so the Javonte injury, we can talk to. So Javonte had an ACL, LCL. So your ACL, a lot of people know, we've talked about it here before. It keeps your shin from going forward.
Yeah.
So it connects the front of your shin to kind of the back of your femur. So your upper leg between your knees. So it makes your ACL and PCL can make an X in your knee. Mm-hmm. And one goes from the front of the top bone to the bottom of the back to the bottom bone, which is the PCL.
Yeah.
And then from the back of the top bone to the front of the bottom bone, which is your ACL. So whiteboard? Yeah, we got a whiteboard right here.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So
Slave Fargo, check out the whiteboard.
Yeah, so we got a whiteboard now because we're big into official. It like that. But here is your femur. And then here's that's your fibula and your tibia. That's your knee. So you have one from the front to the back, one from the back to the front. So this is kind of what your ACL and PCL do. They might kind of across. It's kind of hard to see. Oh yeah, no, we actually do have the picture on there. Let's put that thing up there. Other one. That's for the Tua. Right there.
Oh, cool.
And so it's
pretty close.
I'm gonna keep mine up. You know what? That's pretty good. I'm in on it.
Yeah, good job.
So your ACL connects the very front of your shin to the back of the upper leg bone. Okay, and then your PCL is the back of your shin to the front of your upper leg bone. And so that's kind of what keeps onto there. And so your LCL, we can put that other one up now for the LCL. I'm not going to draw that one. It's hard. We can actually do a science project with the LCL. And so I was showing Timo this, and what you can do is your LCL connects the basically outside portion of your other one. Connects the outside bone of your calf. So if you follow your calf all the way up to the side, and then you can actually feel that little bone that sticks out right underneath your knee. If you bend your knee all the way, you should have a little bone that kind of sticks out, kind of where your hamstrings end. Okay, so you find that bone. You see it? That bone right here, it should be right below your knee. You're going to go up a little bit. So kind of the middle of your knee. So right above that should be kind of your joint line. If you cross your leg over and kind of rest your outside of your ankle onto it, there should be a little string-like thing that kind of comes out. Okay, and then if you lift your leg off, move it off of your knee, it should kind of disappear. So if you go in, push it down, you can feel a little string. It should be a little bit tender to touch. Like, it shouldn't be the greatest thing in the world to push on. It should be kind of uncomfortable. But if you keep moving right there, that's your LCL. It's probably the most palpable and easily visual, I guess, ligament of those. You can't palpate your ACL no matter how hard you try. It's not going to be a thing unless you go in. So your LCL and your MCL are the two easier ones. Your MCL is the same thing on the inner portion. So if you go to the inside, this one's just harder to find. You got to find kind of the inside of your shin and then go up a little bit from it, and you can find this one's a little bit easier once you actually do find it to kind of palpate. It's like a little string.
Yeah.
But those keep your legs in a straight line. So if your knee caves inward, that's your MCL giving way. And if your knee caves outward, that's your LCL giving away. So what happened with Javante was an LCL and ACL, which is not super common, actually. Usually it's the MCL usually caves down in. So that's what happened with him. He's done. That's a long time coming. That's not going to be very good for him.
So probably 2 years until he kind of gets back into...
Yeah. At least it happened early, so it's not that bad. There's actually another ligament on there that's not that we have recently discovered is kind of important, called the ALL. So your anterolateral ligament. So anterior is front, lateral is to the side. So the front side, so at about, if you're looking straight down at your knee, it's about 2 o'clock, and it goes straight up and down that one. And that's called your ALL.
And they recently?
Yeah, they recently realized how important it is because they were cutting him out in the old ACLs and then just not replacing him.
Huh.
But yeah, ALL, you learned something new today.
Yeah,
that was in like the last 10 years they've realized that that's a thing.
Just like, oh, you need that actually. And what do you need it for? Like, what is
it's just more, it helps with the ACL.
Oh, got it. So you still
yeah, so it helps keep the shin in place and it translates it a little bit easier.
Got it.
But yeah, I think we can go ahead and get on the Tua. So if we have any questions about like concussions or anything that you've seen, or, you know, we're going to go over the Tua stuff. And if we miss something, you know, shoot us a question. I'll stop and try to answer it as quick as I can as we're going through it. But so the thing that happened with Tua was, as well known now, is it seems speculation. He obviously denied first. The first injury was a concussion during the Bills game on Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. And then they played Sunday. It was the week before, and then 5 days later played on Thursday Night Football, and then had that scary incident of him going to the ground, and you saw his hands coming up in front of his face. What that's called is called posturing. So if we can flip over to the first picture, that's called posturing, and there's 2 different ways of posturing. So
yeah, this was the scary part.
Yeah, so this is not a normal thing that everyone sees. But there's two different ways of posturing. There's your decerebrate and what's the other one? I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You guys can see it. I can't really see it over there.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me fix this.
Let me look at it. I got it.
You got it?
Decorticate and decerebrate. Okay, decerebrate is the extension moment. So that's one where you're going down. Usually that's the more common one that you see for a lot of football injuries. So those will be the ones you see a guy running, he has the ball, all of a sudden he gets hit and he just looks like he throws the ball down. And it goes into a fumble. And anyways, that's called a decerebrate. That's putting the extension moments. You actually put your arms really straight. And then as you can see in the picture over here, oh, I can't really see it. I'm not very good at this pointing thing. But the picture over here, you can see on the far right side is the decerebrate. You're going to have your arms straight and kind of your wrists outward like that. Almost like you're throwing something. Okay? You get into this forced posture. And the other one is called the decorticate. I used to remember these. I don't remember these anymore. But the decorticate, and that's the ones where you usually go like this. So you're pulling in. So that's when you see the people with concussions that just hold on to the ball, and you're like, oh, well, like he's holding on the ball, he's fine, right? Like, obviously. So they're unconscious this entire time, but they just have the ball like this because that's the way that it happens. But
that was probably the scariest sight, though, for sure. Because I don't know, I don't remember another one other than that Mate Ravens kid that got hit pretty hard and his arm stiffened up like this.
Yeah, so that's normal
yeah, that was it. Yeah, I got it.
So the decorticate is here. It's the one where the hands come up. And that's the one that really freaked people out because
it just looks.
You can flex and get into like a posture position, and usually your hands are kind of down. But it was the way he got hit was on his side, and so when he postured up, he couldn't scoop all the way because the kind of ground stopped him. So what happened was it came up and he held it, and that's when the fingers came up and he rolled onto his back, and that's why it was still there. Okay, so that's called posturing, and it's just very scary. That usually happens with concussion. That usually means you're concussed and knocked out at some point. But yeah, that's an issue. That's what happens with a concussion. It's a lot more common in serious concussions where you lose your consciousness. So the scariest part of it all is if you get a concussion really close together, why they don't want you to do that is something called second impact syndrome. And so you get second impact syndrome when you have like a swelling in the brain from the concussion. So you can have more of a issue with it due to the cranial swelling. So if you have swelling in your brain, so Slick, one's not more severe than the other technically, or that's what I was taught, was one isn't more severe than the other. It's just two ways of identifying it. So there's just a couple ways. I'm trying to remember actually now. I don't think one was more severe than the other. It's just a way to basically identify it. So you see that something is happening, and so that's what happens. Because if they would go into a different posture that wasn't either straight up or straight down, so like if he went down but had like his wrist curled up, kind of weird, it might not be a concussion. It might have been a different neural response. So it could be like I don't know, you pinched a nerve in the shoulder or something, or you did something else, not specifically concussion related. But those are generally, if you have a brain disruption, that's kind of what happens, which is what a concussion is.
Yeah, the way they slammed him to the ground too, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the back of the head isn't
because it was, and especially just all the way across, just all that momentum that And
yeah.
then he ended up in that position, and it was like, not good.
So the scary thing is, if you have a dangerously high amount of pressure in the brain or swelling or what's called edema, they, in order to save someone, if it's swelling up to a point, they will literally drill a hole into your skull to relieve the pressure, which is the scary part, which is why they took forever to keep him off the field, because if they needed to have an emergency, something where it happens, they would have had to do it. So that's the scariest part is, if you get second impact syndrome, if it's confirmed second impact syndrome, mortality is about 50%.
Sheesh.
which not a lot of people get. That's why there's a famous tweet going around of a doctor that was like, you know what, they should be accused, I don't know, sued for manslaughter or whatever if they let Tua go out there within 5 days of concussion, because it's because it's that serious. Like if you get a concussion that close to each other,
50%. Yeah, you're saying 50%,
yeah, there's a 50%
like,
mortality rate for people with confirmed second impact syndrome.
that's nuts.
So it's very, very scary and not something to potentially mess around with at all.
Yeah, especially for the sport itself. Like I think we were talking about, it's like, you know, it made everything look like they care about concussions and threw it out the window.
Just enough to where people stopped, because earlier in the 2015s, or even before that, people just stopped having their kids, you know, play sports. They don't want them to play football. They went straight, you know, I'm just gonna have them play flag football, blah blah blah. Let's do all of these things basically. Let's not go play football. It's not safe. Let's do this. And when football got a bad rap, and it's like the fourth, it's not even top 3 most concussed sports in the world. Per impact, like women's soccer is the highest.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What?
Women's soccer is the highest
Whoa.
percentage of concussions per instance. So that's per like opportunity to have a concussion, per impact, per jumping up, per whatever, the highest. Do I think Tua should retire? I think he should highly consider what the give and take is. So this is not you shouldn't take this lightly. And this is where I get into a lot of, you know, moral dilemmas of, you know what, at this point, if you've played in the NFL in the last like 10 years, don't go crying to the league when you have CTE. No. You know what you're signing up for. You know the risk that your job is. You know that you literally bang heads with another human for living for millions and millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Yeah. You can get in, play for a couple years, and get the hell out of there, and you're set for life almost. Like, you're pretty good. I had a patient of mine who's undrafted onto the Patriots, a friend of mine. He was one of my patients back in the day. Undrafted, at a not a big time school, it was Nevada, I believe. Undrafted, went to Patriots practice squad, made the squad for a couple games, and then, you know, got signed to the Jets for a couple years. He was in for a hamstring injury, and he was like, yeah, I want to play 3 years on an active roster, get my like 10-year medical, because if you play 5 years on a school, you get lifetime medical. Yeah. So he's like, you know what, I want to get my medical. I want to invest half of every paycheck at least into whatever, and I'm going to go off and like be a car salesman or real estate or whatever I want to do.
Exactly.
And so that guy had it right. And so if you're playing 10, 15, 20 years in the NFL,
you have to have an end game.
You got to know what's going on. Yeah. So you can't sit here and sue the NFL for all this. Oh, I heard all the time this. Like, yeah, you played a game and you got paid handsomely for it.
Yeah.
But so that's where I'm kind of like, I'll get off my pedestal on that, but that's where I'm like, you know what you signed up for.
Yeah, and I think nobody will ever feel bad that Tua decided not to play football again, because it was just a freak accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, even if, you know, he had a concussion the first week, nobody expected him to get slammed on the ground like that. Usually you don't really see tackles like that, honestly. Like, I mean, it doesn't happen very often. It was just like, damn near just meant to be, in a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
bring light into what's, you know, really still dark in the NFL.
Every single play, every single game you go out there's risk, and you got to understand, like, you know what, any play could be Ryan Shazier. Any play could be your last play, and it's like not something you should take lightly, and everyone does, and we all do.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I agree with 50. Like, take a couple weeks off, see how your brain responds to this, to having like this serious incident. That's pretty serious. How is literally living. Like, you don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and not know where the bathroom is and piss in the corner. Like, that's a thing that happens with people who have CTEs or multiple concussions.
Short memory loss, right?
Yeah. You're just never going to remember. If you move to a new house or whatever it is, you're never going to remember it. So you go into a nursing home, you're always going to be an issue. That's like far off in the future, but like, that's just, you know.
Just the ideas that you have to think about, especially when you went through it.
Absolutely. You got to think. You got to think of future you. 50's right. You got to think of 40-year-old you. How much would you hate yourself if you didn't? Because in the grand scheme of things, like, what is that? What's 2 more weeks?
No.
To potentially save your life might be exaggerating, but like potentially save your life.
For real. At least you could live and do something else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and that's even. But this goes to say not every single sport team is like this. The Raider game, Hunter Renfrow, the very last play of the game where he fumbled and they returned for a touchdown. Bless his heart. But he got concussed on that last play.
Has he been playing?
No, not played since then. So he got concussed and he's been out, and he's kind of taking it like, you know what, might be a little bit more serious with this. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to play. Mm-hmm. And so he hasn't been playing the last 2 games, and it's, smart of him, I guess.
Smart, yeah, no. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, he'll be back.
Yeah, and that's where he's going to be. He's probably going through the protocols. He's like, nah, man, it still hurts to look at that light. I don't want to go bang my head in. Like, I don't want to go play football. Like, my head hurts. I got migraines. Like, this is dumb.
No, for sure. Yeah, exactly. It depends. I mean, well, like, even like the old school players, they were like out there, like, we don't care. We'll be out there until we die. And then, like, even losing a finger, they'll still go out there and play. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, though, we didn't really know the distant impact of it, though. Like, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like, medical field didn't even really know what a concussion was, not to mention these football players.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand the guys back then, like the Junior Seau's, like, things that happen with them, like, that kind of blows. But, like, we're too smart now to have this happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main.
Players should be smarter.
Main point of this: we know too much right now to have had that to a situation occur. Way too much. We know too much. The general public knows too much. Professional athletes sure as hell know plenty about that. To the ramifications of it.
Fans.
Yeah, like, we're all aware. We all saw that and was like, that ain't good.
Yeah, no, for real. That's what I'm saying. Like, we were all educated enough now to be like, yeah, that's a concussion. And then they were like, no. It's a back injury. A little back spasm when you got up.
So that's where it gets into that really delicate spot. But that's kind of the two explanation why it's scary, why it matters, and why it's gonna change the landscape of everything else.
A lot of things, yeah. No, it's really gonna bring like
there should be heavy lawsuits. There should be heavy, player or not players, but like heavy medical personnel from the Dolphins getting exiled. I don't know if that's the right word, but like,
I don't know.
They should get
shit before.
A lot of well, how many other teams has it? How many other teams has it been affecting though?
Yeah.
So that's we brought this up earlier. Is concussions are very well known to not have symptoms until 3 to 5 days later. How many times have you ever seen anybody in the NFL get held out of a game because concussion symptoms arose? Never. So the amount of shady shit that's happening is far beyond what we already think. This is the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get ugly. It's not going to be good. And it's going to kind of expose like the greed.
I don't think he's going to play for a while.
It's going to expose the greed and the stupidity of the players. Which also, in essence, like, they love that. Like, you kind of want a guy who's going to run through a brick wall and be happy. Like, if I'm a guy, like, I don't know, I kind of want to play, if purely athlete speaking, I want to play with that guy. No matter what's happening, you want to be on that field and give everything you got. I kind of want to play with that guy. Is he going to ruin his career? Yeah. But I want to play with that guy.
That's my teammate.
That's my dude. Like, I want to be out there with him, and it causes very dangerous of like,
it's a sport, unfortunately.
This like, are you a weenie? I don't know.
Are you going to man up and play for your team?
Right. So exactly. If other players may, like, if your low line is like, man, this guy doesn't really want to be out here. He's not like sacrificing like we're sacrificing for this. Like,
no, for sure.
He's not doing that. Guys on that line and in that locker room are going to be like, dude, I want this other guy. I don't know, Teddy B. I want Teddy Bridgewater to come in. I know he'd lay his life on the line. Like, I know he'd dive headfirst into whatever for us. Like, I want to play with that guy. And that's going to be, again, it's the culture.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of dollars at stake.
Well, like you were saying before, this could be his whole career if he doesn't play. He
So
didn't plan right.
That's why it's a real big tightrope. If you can't just go blame one or the other, you can't have one scapegoat for this. This is a cultural issue, and it's a cultural problem, and it's a problem just in general. And I notice it when I do like the high school games and stuff. It makes it
this high school game. I mean, you literally leave it on the line because you're like, I will never get this opportunity again, kind of thing. Yeah,
but it also brings in the fact to where this season's really, I've never like disliked a team. Kids are different now.
Really?
To put it mildly. We've all, I don't know, have you had a season-ending injury?
Season-ending? No.
Have you had to be in carry off? So I've had to be carried off the field.
Luckily.
I know James has had to be in carry off the field. Carded, yeah. Like we've been into that situation of where we're like, yeah, there was no possible way we were getting back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been through that situation. I understand
how much pain you have to be in, or what you went
the
through.
pain, and then to be able to go to doctor visit after doctor visit after doctor visit after doctor visit, and for them to just be like, yeah, you're still not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dog, you didn't look at anything. You didn't look at any of my notes. You didn't look at any like x-rays or whatever I thought. I was also like a 17-year-old kid. What the hell did I know?
Yeah.
But I remember that pain I felt inside of. I'm like, fuck, I can't play. Like, this kills me. Like, I can't, I literally am not allowed to be out there with my guys. Yeah. Like, this is it. And so I have that pain inside. So I know what it's like to be seriously injured and to play hurt. I've had both of them. A lot of people do. I'm not like a special case, but like playing hurt and playing injured are two different things. Yeah. And so I have an issue, and I take it, and I have to like take a step back of like, you're not hurt. Like, stop it. You got stepped on. You're fine. It's not broken. You're okay. Like, go out onto the field. And we have a kid now who will not be named, but I have gone 14 straight games dating back to last year of having to go out onto the field with him because he's never missed a game, because he's never actually been hurt. But he's gone down. He's either had a cramp, he's got stepped on, he got his knee bumped into, he got, all these little things, and I'm losing patience with him. So every time I counted the game, I was like, all right, is this going to be the 14th game? Sure enough, he goes down with a cramp in the first quarter. Who goes down with a cramp in the first quarter? What are you doing, dude?
Oh, man.
I couldn't feel a cramp. I can't for sure say he never had one, but I never felt one. So, like, but this kid's different. They think it's like a glorified thing to be able to go down, like, oh yeah, I'm playing hurt.
The pity party.
And yes, and that's what it is. And it's very different than to when we were out there, to where it wasn't even that long ago. I played, 10, 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Like,
not even that long ago. And
it's easier for them to say ouch rather than I want to keep playing.
Yeah. And so, but there's also guys where I'm like, it's a very big spectrum of like guys. I'm like, hey, yo, like your arm might be broken. He was like, could we tape it? And I'm like, no, can't do that.
But see, that's a real football player. That's the idea of
right. But those guys I know have to be extra careful with. But honestly, if I didn't know that guy, if I didn't coach that guy, I didn't understand his like mind frame, I wouldn't be able to do that with him, because it's just different.
Yeah.
I know that if you go down, I know for sure that I'm going to be running out there and be like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, for sure.
Why
You're
are
not
you
going to complain?
Yeah, what's going on? If I see homeboy 14 straight games go down there, I'm slowly strolling out there. I half expect him to stand up before I even get out there.
Yeah, I feel that.
But it's like, yo, he's going to have something really serious, and it's going to be the boy who cried wolf, and I'm going to go out there and not think it's real, and my ass is going to be on the line.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I get a little annoyed.
So you always have to go out there with the same mindset, like, okay, he actually might be hurt this time.
Yeah, and so to kind of bring this full circle is like, those are the guys I don't want to be out there with. Mm-hmm. And so if there's being at that high level, and your job also depends on him, if we all win, we all get money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, as a lineman, if I'm protecting this all-pro quarterback, they're going to look and be like, hey, you made that guy able to do that. Yeah. I want you. So the linemen are looking at like, hey, if you suck, we suck.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you get into that with like, is this a wuss guy? Is this a every game I go down guy? Is this a whatever? Whether it's rational or not, that's what goes through their heads. And so that's the cultural shift and the paradigm that happens with,
And I bet you it's probably even worse at a collegiate level too, because, some kids are really trying to make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
So that's
scary. Football's scary.
I know I said I got off my pedestal a little bit ago, but like that's kind of the big deal with the Tua thing is there's so many layers to it that people don't understand. Yeah. You can't just blame the Dolphins. You can't just blame the third party. You can't just blame Tua. Everyone's at fault and everyone benefits. If Tua plays and never gets hurt, we don't talk about this. You know what? The Dolphins did they win the game? Dolphins win or lose?
Lost.
They lost that game. Like
Teddy Bridgewater threw an interception at the end.
Tua plays, wins that game. We don't talk about this. Oh, maybe he actually didn't have a concussion. Who knows? But that's the risk that they take. Mm-hmm. How many plays did he play before that, before he got the concussion? Mm-hmm. So that's where it's like, it's a risk reward. Everything in the NFL is risk reward. And so it's very, very sketchy tightrope and very, very thin ice to walk across to go across and fully blame one party out of the other. That's why they're doing a full investigation. That's why you're going to have a bunch of things come out after the fact. This investigation is going to go on for years.
And even if, it still is going to come down to Tua if he's going to be honest about what he really truly feels, because he's either like, nah, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, he could hold,
like, I got to come back.
He could hold to his grave that he never felt concussion symptoms after the first one.
Yeah. And then what were we going to say?
Yeah. How am I actually going to know? I could talk about, I could be big, smart doctor, all I want. I don't actually know what happened with him. This all speculation. He could have just had a really bad concussion, and we would never know the difference. Yeah. You can't do brain scan and see like, oh, person's had 6 concussions because of this. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. It's not technology that we have, and we can't prove anything other than what he said. Yep. So it's tough. But yeah, man, that's it for the
Was there any other injuries around the league that was kind of big? We just talked about Javonte.
I was trying to look at some of them. Yeah, the Javonte one was big. The Jonathan Taylor injury.
Oh, yeah.
He sprained his ankle from what I heard. He was seen in a walking boot. I think that's kind of the extent of it. It's just how bad the sprain is.
Number 1 pick, too, for a lot of people.
Yeah. So if it depends on, so if it's a grade 1, probably might be able to tape it up and play. Questionable though, probably like it might take a week off. Grade 2, it's going to be a 2 to 4 weeker probably with heavy tape job. If it's grade 3, it's going to be 6 to 8 probably at least. So we'll see what happens with that. Amon-Ra had a bum ankle from what I remember that he came back into the game when he hurt it on, and then it
just re-aggravated.
Or it just swelled up and it got loose. Because you can kind of tape it up after the fact, and then you have adrenaline pump, and you don't really have the swelling occur that causes some damage. Swelling can cause a bunch of different muscles to shut off in the area, and so that can lead to even more instability and like not enough to where you can tape it up. Yeah. Because if you tape swelling, it just causes more pressure, which makes it even worse for you. So it's very like tentative on who you can tape up and just kind of stick back in. Usually that if you have it the same time, you can, but you got to take care of it the next time, because once it swells up, you can't just like suck stuff out of there. So his probably was like at least a grade 1 that swelled up, and he was just unable to do stuff.
Just like, guess like, I can't do it.
So he set out.
I know that Swift had a shoulder injury.
Swift had a shoulder injury. Did he have?
I don't think it was dislocated.
No, I think he had he re-aggravated something that he's hurt before. Let me. Anybody got that on?
It just says recent users ruled out. Didn't practice all week. Suggest. Nothing much.
So it says shoulder sprain. That's usually a grade 1 AC sprain. Your AC is the top bone of your joint.
Up top.
Yeah, so it's the top covering of your shoulder that's attached in here. So this is like your little cup. That's where it goes. Your AC is on top, and it's your shoulder blade that connects with your collarbone. And there's actually a little joint there in the front where your collarbone connects to it, and it dips a little bit. So when you lift up your shoulder, it actually rises a little bit. And if you get hit too much, it'll drop down. So
that makes sense.
That's what, if you heard the term a separated shoulder.
Yeah.
The separated shoulder is just a grade 3 AC sprain, so a full sprain. Actually, really cool test for it is it's called the piano key test. And so my older brother Tyler, he actually had a positive piano key sign where he had a full shoulder separation after a snowboarding accident. And he doesn't care if I tell anybody. He doesn't give a crap. But what happens is you can actually take the collarbone, and because it gets a full separation from the AC joint, it's usually your AC joint is usually down here, so your shoulder's way down. So and you can just press down on the collarbone, and it goes up and down like a piano key. It's gross, but it's like kind of cool.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's
so
like,
that's a full.
yo,
That would be
it
a
is.
full AC joint sprain. So that's kind of what the part of it's hurt. Why it matters to running back is obviously you're using your shoulders the whole time.
Yep.
I don't know if we got further word on the Dalvin Cook injury. Did he play? He didn't play, did he? He played.
How'd he do?
Mediocre.
It was like snap?
Yeah, it
the
didn't
snap
get
count.
That was like the London game. I didn't really watch it.
I didn't
okay,
watch the
that was-
London
yeah,
game at
yeah,
all.
no,
I set my alarm and I woke up and I was like, nah, F this. This is Andy Dalton
Tottenham.
against Kirk Cousins. I don't care enough.
Wait, Andy Dalton starting on
New Orleans. Yeah, the Red Rocket. They finally took the advice of, you know what? This guy has 4 broken bones in his back. Let's not start this guy. That's not a thing we should
And
do.
they lost. Saints lost, right?
By like a field goal, yeah.
Imagine-
Double doinker.
Imagine you're like British, and it's like, I'll check this football thing out just to see Andy Dalton. Like, that's your introduction
Yeah.
to football.
Yeah.
A
Like,
freaking
this is-
Ginger and Kirk Cousins out there running out. But
Who
kudos
is
to
this
them.
man, Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. But
Oh, I
yeah,
saw
the London game. This London, Slick Fargo. This London game's another. This one is another crap shot, right? It's like the
It
Bears
probably was
and
supposed to be better.
who's
though.
this? Who's this week's London? It's like the
No, that
Bears
was the London
and
game.
this week is another one.
There's another one? Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then they do a Germany and Mexico.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it's another piece of crap game.
Giants Packers, by the way.
Giants Packers.
Giants Packers.
Let's go watch
I mean,
Daniel Jones,
Aaron-
baby. 71 total passing yards.
Isn't he hurt too? I thought Daniel's got Daniel.
Nah, he hurt his ankle, and then
Oh.
Tyrod Taylor went in
Did we ever
while
talk
they were
about,
taping up Daniel Jones' ankle, and then Tyrod Taylor's in concussion protocol.
Oh my. Oh, is that
He's
why
gonna
they
be out
had
for a while.
Wildcat?
There's no way.
You know what though? The GOAT London game though was Raiders Bears a few years ago. The year after Khalil Mack went to the Bears and we beat them.
Yeah,
Mm.
That was the GOAT.
yeah. For some, the Raiders always had a game in like Mexico City and stuff.
Some
like,
random.
why?
You know what it was? It was the league saying "F you" and not giving you extra home game, which gives you more revenue.
For Mark Davis. Yeah, that's. I mean, I get it.
When they were still in Oakland.
Well, just like Al
Oh,
Davis,
okay,
Mark
yeah.
Davis, they didn't like it.
And with Al too, because they started it with Al, like the Mexico game.
Yeah.
always made us have the home game with it, if you notice.
Shady.
But since Vegas is now a draw, like they want
Vegas, yeah. So now all home games for you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's
Everybody's
fair.
probably. I mean,
I'm in. We got the Chiefs on Monday night now.
Do you guys?
Yeah, Chiefs this week.
Ooh, Chief Week, huh?
I think it's
For you guys?
Oh, it's in KC.
Yeah, I was like, it's
You know what? I'm fine
That's
with this
tough.
though, because I hate that. My dad used to always call us a conspiracy that we would only play the Broncos and Chiefs in like December. Like, we always know, like you never see us play.
and always in. Yeah.
Right, always.
Interesting.
We never had the home games late in the year,
Nope.
and we'd always
Now that you
we'd
guys went
always
to
play.
Las Vegas.
We'd always have to travel all the way to Florida after a home game.
Every single time. Yep.
We would never.
Always
We'd
say
never be on the East Coast going down there. We never play like the Giants or something and go down,
Right.
or the Jets.
So that's the NFL just saying a big fuck you
Yeah.
guys.
It is what it is. But yeah,
Oh, you guys got your first win this week, though.
that was. Yeah, we're still like 6 plays away from being 4-0. So whatever.
Oh yeah, because you had the Murray game come down. Even the Titans game came down.
Phantom holding the Titans game. We should have
Week 1, you guys just ended up just losing.
week 1, but we've talked like that's
Week 1's week.
a
1, though.
play or two away from like
Who'd you guys play on week 1?
the Chargers.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Like
that
we
was
came
pretty
back
tough.
on them for a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean it's really tough when you have Cargo for 3 interceptions. Like that's. Ugh.
Yeah.
James Levine, do fish oil pills work? I don't
What
know
have you
if-
seen? I feel like you probably do know a lot more supplements.
I take fish oil pills every day. I have noticed that the cheaper brands never really felt like anything. It might be a placebo at this time in my career of taking fish oils. Like I don't know if it is working or it isn't working. I just know when I don't take them, I don't feel. I don't know because now I've taken a lot of vitamins, so I can't really tell if I just. I'm just gonna go final answer. Yes, they do work.
So fish
From my
oil
experience.
from the medical field perspective, fish oil is good, and any like, there's a lot of things just called multivitamins that have just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard fish oil and multivitamins. I don't know too much about like.
No.
I think we talked about like. That's why we need to get Dennis back on here to talk about supplements and like nutrition and stuff like that. Just because
I'm on chapter 2
he knows so much more.
of
but
the nutrition sports thing, so I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come through.
It's a tough read. That's one of the things I realized I couldn't become like a pharmacist. I just don't care. Yeah. There's so many like just really long named things, and I just, man, that was the hardest thing was pharmacology, was slogging through which drug does what does low lab value mean, what's the, low sodium, what are the like causes of it, and what are the like symptoms of it. Oh my god, that was the biggest slog for me. It was
kind of cool because in the first couple chapters they talked about like eating disorders, and I didn't think I was gonna actually the program would even talk about eating disorders. But yeah, so I found that pretty interesting as I was studying. And then, of course, just making sure I know the scope of the practice of a nutritionist, sports nutritionist, rather than being a dietitian or, other stuff like that. So, but yeah, so for my own experience, I always take a multivitamin, fish oil, only creatine, and don't take no BCAAs. Don't really need that. You can definitely get it from food. Those are only my 3 that I kind of work, and I've actually been using more, or ever since we talked about it, glutamine, and I still use glucosamine. So I've kind of added that. Glucosamine, I found out it's really good for recovery. So I take it after.
Good for joints too.
Yeah, so I take it after my workout now, which I've noticed that it just, I'm not as sore. I think that's the biggest thing that I've kind of noticed of trying to take just glucosamine at the end of my workout. So I'm not as sore, which is really good. I feel like I'm able to get back in the next day. I think I've taken one time like testosterone boosters. I felt like it helped with the workout sense of things. It's like being in the gym, like a good pre-workout kind of thing in a sense. Yeah. I don't feel like I couldn't say if the results were there. I think it helped me just work out harder in the gym, so the results came anyways, in a sense.
Motivation, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe, yeah. I definitely felt like, it's definitely good as a pre-workout if you want to take it. I don't know anything else besides that. I just know for most, young men and stuff like that, even taking it is not going to really do too much because they already have a lot of testosterone. So maybe older folk, if you take testosterone boosters, it'd probably help a lot more. I'm trying to think of anything else that people like the creatine, HCl kind of stuff. Nah, just take the monohydrate. The HCl stuff is just kind of, they're trying to make it think like, oh, it's pure and more, it's gonna have better results. Like, nah, just take the mono. Same.
There was a I think it was recent. Monster Energy sued Bang over false advertisement because Bang was advertising super creatine, which wasn't an actual thing. And they won the lawsuit for like $230 million. So like a lot of money, but I didn't realize what Bang was saying. Like it can help solve like genetic defects and stuff. And the super creatine can do all this and that. And so Monster Energy was kind of, that's not a thing. There's no such thing as super creatine, and it like actually made it worse or whatever. But I was interested. I didn't know about that.
So it's the HCl stuff. No, BCAAs. I'm trying to think of anything else that's super popular right now. Fat burners. There's okay. So the only thing I would say to help with like gut health that helped me is the green tea extract. I feel like it really helps with my digestive system and like maybe not being as bloated. I don't know if that, like it doesn't. I don't feel.
I've heard that about.
You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Yeah.
It's just more of I think it's more digestive and just maybe how it's kind of helping.
GI.
Yeah, it's kind of helping just the process of like what the food's doing in your stomach. Maybe it's helping. I don't know the scientific research behind it. But maybe just helping you with your bowel movements and getting that stuff, and nothing's kind of sticking that you need or you don't need really. So I would recommend green tea. Green tea extracts. I use the 500 milligram ones. I just take 2 in the morning, and that's pretty much it, really. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, no fat burners. I've never been like a hydroxy cut guy or like that.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I never got into
Nah,
none
I
of
mean,
that.
honestly, just eat
Wouldn't
better.
know. Yeah.
No, just eat better, honestly, for fat burners. Don't need that type of stuff. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that people take. Yeah, that was really it for my recollection of all, supplements. So my recommendation, from personal experience and use, definitely multivitamin, fish oil, creatine, pre-workout, of course. I'm not too big on those like NO explode cursors or stuff like that, or like arginine and all this other stuff.
Oh
that
yeah.
the vascularity of your muscle or your veins and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I guess if you really want to just go that route, I guess go that route.
Yeah, it's technically it works, but it's not. You don't need that.
Yeah, you don't need it if you're just
You don't need it at all.
stay healthy. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
No.
I guess if you're trying to go ham, I mean that's like we said before. There's other things like you could take steroids correctly if you really want to just get bigger and better like that. There is a safe way to do that. I don't know how, but somebody does.
We got a poll up. Should Tua retire? Hit it one time for the one time. Everyone in the chat.
Maybe.
Let us know. We want to know. It matters.
I think. Would you retire? Or would you just sit out for like?
I want to say I would retire, but I wouldn't. No way. There's way too much money involved, and I've like put into. Because that's the thing is, one, there's a lot of money involved. Two, the amount of effort you have put into this, to where now this is your career, your functioning career, to where a finite amount of people can ever say that they've ever done this, and then do this to like a starting caliber player. Like, think of it. That's 32 people in the NFL are starting quarterbacks. 32 people a year. And how many of those are rolled over?
Yep.
You say, saying lucky, what are there, 10 new starting quarterbacks a year maybe?
Depends how many come out the draft, really.
Yeah, I would say on average, on average 7 new starting quarterbacks in the year that haven't started before. So like you think about that in the last, 50 years. Yeah. There's been 300 people that have done this.
Slick said it the best, though, right now. He just said, just stay as long as he gets the full medical.
5 years.
He's been
5 years, medical for life.
He's in 3? Mm-hmm. Maybe 3, huh?
Smart. Nobody would really rush him back at this point.
That's
no,
why.
like,
that's why the NFLPA made rookie contracts 5 years.
Oh.
You're a first-round pick. You got 5 years. All you have to do is survive cuts, and you have medical for life.
Good for them. That was smart for the PA to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would probably be the best. So should he retire? No, because he's probably gonna.
Take a season off. If they bench you for it, go be a backup quarterback somewhere.
Somebody will take you. Even just
backup quarterback's one of the sickest gigs in the world. I want to be Chase Daniels.
Oh,
that'd be sick.
Wait, he said how many years has he been in the league?
He's been in the league for like 17, 16 years or something.
Made a hell of
Maybe
money.
that might be exaggerating.
But still, though, he's
at least double-digit years. Like he's, I think, in his 15th year. He's like 37.
Yeah.
He's been backing up freaking like Drew Brees and stuff his entire life. Like
just chilling, going.
He's an animal.
Team games.
Yeah, I love it. I'm in.
I mean, good enough. Just be good enough. But yeah, I think that's the right
So
way.
it's one, it's the money. Two, it's the life work that you've put into this to where you have to go do something else.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure he's set for life in Alabama, but does he really want to be in Alabama for the rest of his life? Let's be real. I don't know if he wants to do that, but like
shout out Roll Tide, maybe making me
Roll Tide. But like so that's the other thing you have to look at is these guys work so hard to be at this level and to just say like, you know what, to them. Let's put in really, really blatant terms is like, I'm seeing stars. Who cares? What are the odds? Mm-hmm. What are the odds? That's what they're thinking to themselves. What are the odds? I've risked my entire life up to this point playing a game. I'm gonna keep risking it.
I bet you that was like kind of one of his ideas too, or just maybe a thought. Like, oh man, I'm probably not gonna get another commercial. Like, what are the odds I'm gonna get another concussion the next game?
What are the odds? That's it. Saying? That's the entire MO of the medical staff of football. What are the odds?
Yeah, they're like,
You telling me there's a way? You telling me there's
especially $1 million corporation.
If you come up to me,
4% chance he gets another maybe not even 1% chance that he got another concussion.
Yeah. So you're telling me you're giving me a 90% chance. You're giving me a 90% chance.
You'd be good
to get through and be okay for that. You know how many people are risking that? It's something they've worked so hard at to get that percent.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They're like, yeah, nah, I'll take that 10%.
So that's the other thing you got to look at. Like, man, yeah, it's like a greedy corporation, but also like, yo, you worked your entire life to get here. Like that needs to be put into perspective too.
Yeah,
he does.
Like 12
Tua
years old,
did not want to sit out that game.
No,
nothing's for sure. Nothing's given. So that's like a tough thing for them. But yeah, that's a Tua thing. So keep on that. Next week, we're going to talk about Tabata workouts.
Yeah.
Do you want to give them a little precursor to what that is?
Yeah. So Tabata is actually a really quick, fun way to burn a lot of calories in a very short amount of time. Something I've been kind of working closely with my clients because I actually have a very short amount of time with them for only 30 minutes. So it's like we've been talking about circuit training. And this is something I came across, which is really cool because it's like literally 20 seconds of active movement and then 10 seconds rest for a total of 8 rounds of that. So definitely could get a lot of, you're sweating and pumping in a quick 20-minute workout. So yeah, we're just definitely a much more efficient workout, especially when you're kind of pressed on time. It's something that you could do with no weights and at home. So yeah, something that we'll put together for next week, and then I'll even put together a little demo for everybody.
Yeah, big proponent of quality over quantity of workouts.
Yeah, exactly. I like it too because it's just a lot of body weight stuff too. So it gets the people going.
All right. If that's it, if we got no more questions, then we're gonna be wrapping it up. If we did miss something, or you're like, oh wait, I wanted that response, send us a DM. If you do answer, we will make like at least a TikTok video or something to go out. You can follow us on TikTok on the stream. Links are all in there. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. All of it, whatever you got, follow us on. If you give us a specific question through the DM, or you ask us questions on TikToks and stuff, we'll go and we'll answer. We'll make another video for you. We'll answer that specifically. You got medical professionals in here. We're ready to do the work for you. So hit us that one time for the one time, and let us know. Yeah, send in your stuff. We got chips on Wednesday tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
We got chips tomorrow. We got book club Thursday. What are we going over for book club?
We don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
So yeah.
Come in, vote tomorrow on chips to see what we're
gonna
gonna go through on Thursday for book club, and hang in there for the limelight as we go in. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck with your fantasy teams.
Oh yes.
May you all.
Good luck on your team
prosper.
QB fantasy team.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
Let us know. We want the Slick Fargo updates. We want them to go undefeated, and we'll do all we can for them. But other than that, for Painter Game, my name is Dr. T.
TMOH.
You guys have a good night. We'll catch you next week.
See you.
Hi.
Because you can't just stop everything.
Do you?